Hey, I'm Don Kisky. Thanks for checking out the Whitetail Freaks YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new weekly content.
Previously on Whitetail Freaks.
And all of a sudden, Kenny reaches over and grabs my leg and about gave me a heart attack. So there's a giant at 20 yards.
Don Kisky had a great season 10, taking 2 spots in the top 10 buck down. First, he landed the number 9 when this 160-inch buck walked into his shooting lane.
Not very often you can drop them around the spot like that, but I guess I'll take them however I can get them.
Then there was Dumpster.
Been after this buck called Dumpster the entire year. I've wasted my entire season chasing this deer.
Dumpster gave Don fits all season long, but we all know who came out on top in this battle.
The smoke's filled my screen.
I saw red.
Smoke's filled my screen, so
We can go look at it, but I don't think we have to.
guess what? Dumpster's down.
We just drilled old Dumpster, a buck I've been chasing all year.
Don not only took down his number 1 hit lister, but he took down the number 1 spot in the Freaktown Top 10 buck down.
Good looking buck. One of our big hit listers is on the ground. The story with Dumpster is official. It's over.
This week,
Here's this big buck's coming. I'm trying to figure out who he is real quick.
Don ended last year at the top, and this year he's staying true to his reputation.
Happened so dang fast.
Don doesn't get out in the early season, but as soon as October winds down and the rut begins to kick in, he finds himself gravitating to the millennium in hopes of repeating history and putting a giant in Freaktown's 2016 Top 10 buck down.
Awesome, baby. Just got us a good buck.
You know, like so many years, it's always the same. I'm a farmer. I've got 950 acres of crops I got to get out. Early October is just a tough time for us. If it rains, you know, I can get out and I might be able to go in a few mornings and evenings here and there.
Getting out in the early season is something that Don rarely has time for. Being a farmer forces him into a combine right about October, and sometimes throughout November. The 2016 season in particular had some added problems with weather and moisture.
We were really scrambling to get crops out. It was a terrible bean cutting year. The beans were high moisture, so we couldn't even run until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So from 2 to 4 was the only window of opportunity I had to cut beans.
As much as Don loves hunting his whitetail, he does have a job to do and a family to provide for. So between cutting beans and harvesting corn, except on the rare occasion, he simply has no other options in the early season.
When I did get to hunt, it was Candy the one doing the hunting, because I would jump out of the combine and run to the stand and we'd try to get a few hours in. But actually early October, we did not get much time to hunt.
As stated, Don couldn't find the time to hunt the early season behind anything other than a camera. But come late October, it was go time in Don's world.
It's possible that this is the world's most jacked up tree I've ever been in. It's a locust tree with thorns all over it. I gotta have my safety rope on the opposite limb. It's literally 10 foot off the ground. It's that low. But we got good background cover. We got an oak tree growing up through the middle of it. I'm blinded by the sun behind me, as you can tell. I'm scared to move because I don't want to dote me out. This is the same tree we encountered Dumpster in last year during late muzzleloader.
When Don encountered Dumpster last year from this tree, he was at a low point. He'd already missed this buck, not once,
I was just absolutely sick. I mean, we've chased this buck for so long.
but twice.
The first time I missed Dumpster, I shoot low. The second time I shoot high.
So when Dumpster showed up across the field and was about to make his way into range of the CBA, you can imagine the excitement Don was feeling.
I got the OCVA, buddy.
But that excitement would soon dissipate as quickly as it appeared.
About that time, he throws his head up, looks across the field the other direction, sees a doe, and takes off trotting over the hill and runs out of my life. I just can't win.
Don has not had the greatest luck in this tree. But now, a year later, he'll try his luck again in hopes that a giant will wander in looking for a doe.
It's a super tree. It's just super hard to bow hunt out of. That's that heavy 10. Don't look like that heavy 10. That don't look like that heavy 10. It's pretty crappy, don't he? Gotta be a different deer. He's got a little bubble now. That can't be him. Buck's looking towards Don't Move. No, he ain't that heavy. He's a different 10. Different deer than I was thinking. I'm sure I even know who he is. Buck. They had two nice bucks. I know the first one. He's just a young deer, 3.5-year-old, but he's gonna be a beauty next year. And a pretty heavy 10. I got a big heavy 10 that's a shooter, but that's not him. It's almost like his twin, but he's not big enough to shoot. Nor did they get close enough. So there he is, still walking on the hill. He keeps going. Yeah, I could kill him right there. Boom. Right there. Okay. Don't move. Don't move.
The 3-year-olds were all Don was going to see on this day. But there's always something to learn when you're in the stand, regardless of the situation. With these young bucks walking in close, Don realized he could have been more liberal with his Hooyman electric saw when trimming his shooting lanes. Because even if one of these bucks was a shooter, there was no way Don was getting a shot.
Got a few spots, but I didn't get ridiculous with it. Anyway, I need to do some more trimming.
Well, we're out here hanging some millennium tree stands here in the spring. It's my favorite time of year to hang stands because you can see all the signs so good. I got a perfect tree spot right over here. And obviously I brought my Hooyman electric saw with me. This thing makes my life a lot easier, trust me. Yeah, everybody that knows me, you know I'm not a big advocate of trimming trees a bunch. Yeah, obviously you have to some. But some of these guys, they'll go in early season in September and they'll cut it out thinking it's gonna look the same in November, and they've totally ruined the spots. You really gotta be careful.
Every year when the season starts, there's a slight learning curve when it comes to trimming your lanes. Don is a man who likes his cover, but leaving too much can prove to be just as bad as trimming too much. Luckily for Don, no mature bucks walked by in his first sit.
But one product is the Hooyman saws, especially the electric saws they've got. It really makes trimming your trees up easy. Just be careful when it's early season. Just don't trim any more than you have to. Because you come back 2 or 3 weeks later, it's not gonna look the same.
Set up this morning finally. Got in here to one of my favorite sets. It's a brand new set that I hung this summer. Or early fall anyway. Popped a Millennium in. This is right in the middle of everything. This little timber surrounded by cut cornfields. There's deer all over the place because on the way in we blew deer everywhere. That's always awesome. Had deer running in front of us. Got to the tree, had deer snorting. Frustrating. That's why access to your stands is so dang important. I had no creek or ditch or anything to walk up here. Just had to walk through the timber, but they're not supposed to be in the middle of the timber in the mornings, but they were. Good buck coming right there. Nice 10. I don't know if it's a shoot or not. He's coming across that ditch. He's right there by that small buck. Real nice looking buck. Got 3 of them together here in a minute. I have to do a practice draw on him. Comes up through here, turn my tactic cam on, get some footage. Practice on him. Finally, we got to see some activity. Had 3 bucks come up through. The first one was a 2.5-year-old 10. The second one was a 3-year-old 10, short G2s. I know him, got Browning trail camera pictures to him. Got Browning trail pics to the other one too. The last one was like a 7 or an 8, tall brows. They're both 3-year-old bucks. Be nice within a couple years. Man, we could have blistered them right there, 10 steps. That would have been awesome. Boy, come to full draw, did a practice draw, buried the pin on him. Man, my thumb almost made it go off.
Don has been having some decent encounters with young bucks for the short amount of time he's had in the stand. But young bucks aren't shooters and will only serve as eye candy while waiting on the big mature ones.
I think it was about 9 o'clock, the first doe come through, a single doe come down the trail on the opposite side of the tree that they're actually supposed to. Of course, that always happens. So she comes through, and I'm watching that doe as she's leaving, and I happen to look back, and this happened so quick. Here comes this big, white 5x6. I immediately turn around and grab my bow. I had literally had 10 seconds to judge this deer.
He's done, ain't he? Yep. Yeah, baby. Just smoked a good buck. I was sitting here complaining in the tree to how stinking slow it was this morning. We blew deer everywhere. Didn't think I was gonna see nothing. It happened so fast. I grabbed my bow, got on him, made a good shot. I thought I missed him. I made a good shot, and he went down right there. Didn't get my Tacticam on. I was so cool of a camera on my bow to play with. I didn't even have time to push the button. Oh well, God, it's a good buck anyway. That's a nice 10.
Don has had a plethora of encounters with young bucks to start his season.
Now that is what I call blood sport right there. That is as red as it gets, buddy. Like I said, I'd shoot a nasty broadhead, brand new, from dead ringer. And it has ripped him.
But now with his first kill on the year, he'll kick off Freaktown's 2016 Top 10 Buck Down. And at a respectable 155 inches, this buck will hold the number 10 spot.
Yeah, check that out. What a beautiful, beautiful buck. Look at 5x6 frame. The abnormal point, that's who I thought he was. You know, I got to thinking, I don't know who that deer is, but then I sat and stand a little bit and thought about it. Oh yeah, that's that big 10. He's got a G5, but he chipped it off there a little bit. Good frame deer, good beams, good solid whitetail, man. I am pumped. But I took his Browning trail picture, one of my prettiest pictures of the year actually, against a cornfield. It's a really pretty velvet shot in the summertime. And then he disappeared. I didn't know for sure where he went. I had another farm 1.5 miles to the north. I started taking his picture on that farm. He was there for several weeks. I took his picture. Then he vanished off that one. Then he came back here. Great buck, an awesome morning, November 5th to be in the woods. I'm thrilled.